Columbus, Ohio, 1984. In the Resch family's quiet home, chaos erupted. Objects moved on their own. Pictures leapt from walls. Telephones flew. Lamps crashed. The family searched for explanations. Wind, vibrations, anything logical. Nothing fit. The kitchen became a nightly disaster zone. Toasters turned on. Chairs stacked themselves. Silverware scattered. Fear replaced comfort. The Resches felt hunted by an invisible force. The chaos seemed to center on their adopted teenage daughter, Tina. Whenever Tina entered a room, the activity intensified. The family grew desperate, unable to hide the bizarre events from neighbors. They noticed a pattern. Tina was always nearby when things happened. Was Tina the cause? Or was something attached to her? The family's fear deepened. They needed answers. With nowhere else to turn, the Resches reached out for help, a decision that would change everything. The haunting was no longer just a family secret. It was about to become a national sensation. The line between reality and nightmare blurred in the Resch home. Every day brought new, inexplicable chaos. The family's search for help would soon thrust them into the spotlight. The story of the Columbus Poltergeist was just beginning. The Resches braced themselves for what would come next. Their ordinary life was over. All eyes turned to Tina Resch, the quiet teen at the center of the storm. When Tina was present, chaos followed. Couches lifted, objects flew, all in plain sight. Her parents believed her innocence, but outsiders were skeptical. Accusations of trickery and attention-seeking swirled. Desperate for proof, the Resches called the Columbus Dispatch. Reporter Mike Hardin and photographer Fred Shannon arrived, waiting for something to happen. For hours, nothing, until a phone suddenly flew from Tina's lap. Shannon snagged a photo at the perfect moment when the phone flew in midair. The image became iconic, splashed across newspapers nationwide. Some saw it as proof of the supernatural, others called it a hoax. Overnight, Tina became Poltergeist Girl, a title she never wanted. The unwanted fame brought scrutiny, doubt, and relentless attention. The Resch family's ordeal was now public property. Tina's life was forever changed by a single photograph. The haunting was no longer just a private terror, it was a national debate. The line between victim and suspect blurred for Tina. The Columbus Poltergeist case had become a media sensation. The truth behind the chaos remained elusive. Tina's struggle was just beginning. The Resch home became a media circus, reporters, cameras, and skeptics everywhere. Tina, just a teenager, was thrust into the harsh glare of public scrutiny. Skeptics dissected the famous photo, searching for wires or tricks. Accusations of fraud and attention-seeking stung the family. To find answers, the Resches invited paranormal investigators. William Roll, a leading parapsychologist, spent weeks observing Tina. He believed Tina's stress triggered psychokinesis, objects moving by mind alone. Roll's support gave the family hope, but public opinion remained divided. The media eventually moved on, but Tina's life was changed forever. She struggled to reclaim normalcy, haunted by her reputation as Poltergeist Girl. The Columbus Poltergeist became a landmark case in paranormal research. For Tina, it was a painful legacy. The controversy highlighted the challenge of proving the unexplainable. The Resch family's ordeal faded from headlines, but not from memory. The haunting left scars that never fully healed. The world moved on, but Tina could not escape her past. The line between belief and skepticism remained sharply drawn. The Columbus case endures as a mystery, one that science still cannot explain. For Tina, the haunting never truly ended. What is a poltergeist? Not a ghost, but a surge of energy, psychokinesis often linked to emotional turmoil. Researchers like William Roll believe the chaos was unconscious, erupting from stress, especially in teens. Tina's case fit the pattern activity, spiked with her emotions. Poltergeist events are like emotional thunderstorms, raw, unpredictable, and destructive. Some believe it's just the mind lashing out. Others insist on spirits or supernatural forces. The truth remains elusive. The Columbus case forces us to question the power of the mind and the mysteries that surround us. Is it the living or the dead who haunt us? The answer, like the poltergeist itself, remains just out of reach. The mystery endures. Meanwhile, in Houston, Texas, a new neighborhood called Newport promised the American dream. But soon after families moved in, strange things began. Whispers, cold spots, and shadowy figures. Children were terrified, drawing pictures of the things they saw. Parents dismissed it as imagination until the stories matched from house to house. Belongings vanished and reappeared. Cabinets opened overnight. Cribs shook violently. Fear spread through the community. The families realized they were all experiencing the same terror. The dream of Newport was unraveling. The haunting felt ancient, heavy with sadness. The sense of being watched was constant. The families banded together, desperate for answers. The source of their fear was about to be revealed. Newport's promise had turned into a nightmare. The haunting was not just in their homes, it was in the land itself. The true story of Newport was about to surface. The past was not as buried as they thought. The Newport families dug into the land's history and uncovered a shocking truth. Their homes were built atop the forgotten Black Hope Cemetery, a burial ground for African American families dating back to the 1800s. Developers had bulldozed graves, erasing sacred ground for profit. The families were horrified, realizing the hauntings were cries from the disturbed dead. The Black Hope curse was born, an entire neighborhood haunted by the past. Guilt and sadness replaced anger. The spirits, unable to rest, made their presence known. The families felt trapped between the living and the dead. The haunting was no longer random. It was a demand for respect. The Black Hope Cemetery's legacy could not be ignored. The residents faced a haunting rooted in history and injustice. The curse was more than a ghost story. It was a reckoning. The living and the dead were now entangled. Outraged, the Newport families took the developers to court. Old maps and records proved the land's history. Workers testified about finding bones and coffins. The developers had known and covered it up. The case drew national attention, dividing public opinion. Some sympathized, others accused the families of inventing ghost stories for money. The court ruled in favor of the families, awarding compensation for emotional distress. But money couldn't erase the haunting. Many families moved away, unable to live with the history beneath their homes. Those who stayed faced a legacy of fear and sorrow. The Black Hope curse became a cautionary tale. The cost of ignoring the past was now painfully clear. The story of Newport was far from over. The dead would not be forgotten. For those who remained in Newport, the hauntings persisted. Some tried to make peace with the spirits, holding ceremonies and speaking to the dead. The neighborhood's haunted reputation made it impossible to sell their homes. Property values plummeted. Families felt trapped. Over time, some activity faded, but stories continued to surface. New residents, unaware of the land's history, reported strange occurrences. The Black Hope curse became a local legend, a warning about greed and disrespect. The living paid the price for the sins of the past. The dead demanded remembrance. Newport's story is a haunting reminder. The past is never truly buried. The curse endures. The Columbus Poltergeist and Black Hope curse. Two hauntings, two kinds of fear. In Columbus, chaos erupted from within, a mind in turmoil, a family in crisis. In Houston, the haunting was communal, a neighborhood built on desecrated graves. Both stories drew media attention and skepticism. Victims became suspects, forced to defend their experiences. The line between reality and the supernatural blurred. These stories remind us that the past is never far away. Whether haunted by our own minds or by the restless dead, the unknown lingers. The suburbs are not immune to mystery. The question remains: what happens when the past refuses to stay buried? Sometimes the dead demand to be heard.